Hey guys and gals, let me ask you something. Do you have a nostalgia for those classic teen dramas? If so, I want you to check out this podcast, Tree Hill Talk. Each week, Ingrid, Liz, and Michelle provide you reviews for 2 episodes of the show One Tree Hill. And wait for it, it's Liz and Michelle's first time. I know, right? You can find them on iTunes, or you can go to treehilltalk.com. Let me know what you think. Hello anime fans! Welcome to Ghosts in the Cloud, an anime podcast. I'm John, and with me as always as my co-host, Bridget.
Hey!
This week we are joined by another lover of anime and fan of the show, we hope, Blake. Today we are discussing the show RWBY. But as always, before we dive in, we are going to start today's show, as we do every week, with some anime news. Yeah. Although this doesn't pertain to those outside of Japan, the Dragon Ball anime franchise is holding the world's first Dragon Ball fan run. This 3K run will be held in September. Participants get t-shirts, photo ops with characters and voice actors. So what I have to say is let's get loud, Dragon Ball fans, and try to get one here in America.
I might even leave my computer and actually go out and run a little bit. Maybe. Just maybe. So, the makers of Bungo Stray Dogs announced they're working on a movie and a stage play. So for those who don't know the show, this anime came out last year and it's already got 2 seasons. I instantly fell in love with it, so I'm very excited about this. Although the details have not been released, a new movie poster is up, so check out our social media and take a look. They also said that season 3 is coming out this October, so now is the perfect time to catch up, and I definitely want to do an episode on this in the future.
And our last bit of news, Fate Apocrypha, the next iteration in the Fate Zero Fate Stay Night franchise, will be getting a total of 25 episodes. The series will begin exclusively streaming on Netflix on July 3rd. That's tomorrow.
Woo!
Are you ready for another Holy Grail war? I know I am.
Hell yeah, go get a Netflix account.
Well, that's it for the news.
So I'd like to introduce our guest, Blake.
Hi.
Hey.
It has been 1 year since my last anime, and this is Weeboos Anonymous, right?
Oh,
WA?
You're in the right place.
Okay,
yes.
Good. All right, awesome. How's it going? Yeah. So me and Bridget work together. We file paperwork, and it's boring.
And both of our desks are covered in
and toys.
anime
Yes.
toys and everything,
Yes.
and including RWBY toys.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us about your anime fate?
So, with most things in my life, I was raised into this stuff. The first time I remember seeing, like, anime was my brother, Mike, was watching Full Metal Alchemist on the TV.
Nice.
Dragon Ball, all the basics. As you said in, like, your intro thing, like, Pokemon was the first thing for me before, like, I ever knew what Japanese animation was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z must have been, like, my first thing that I saw. And then they, like, developed into, like, Naruto, One Piece, all of those good shonen...
Rock Lee.
Yeah. All those good shonen stuff where, like, just punch each other in the face and scream for 5 episodes. It's great.
Sounds very cool.
and then once I hit college, I decided to, like, experiment more with, like, the thought-provoking stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah, not that thought-provoking.
Yeah, college is when I started branching out, too.
Yeah, it's been a while, but now I remember. One of the most recent ones I've watched is Psycho-Pass, and that is a brain trip of a ride. Like this whole society that's controlled by computers and, like, healthcare, mental health care, and if you go off of this perceived spectrum of good mental health, you're arrested. Like, it was
interesting.
That is cool.
That's a good show.
Well,
Put that on the docket.
It's actually, I added it to the list of shows that we would watch.
Neat.
So that we can have an episode on it, because it's got fantastic reviews.
Yeah, it's really good.
Really good. So Blake is going to introduce a new section of our episode, Anime Word of the Week.
Yes, Anime Word of the Week. As I started with Weeboos Anonymous, Weeboo is some might determine as a derogatory term for a Westerner who is so into anime and Japanese culture that they believe that they're Japanese. And that's not right. Like, people really shouldn't do that. That's where it becomes less of an appreciation of someone's culture and more cultural appropriation. But there's people who think that, like, just because you're, like, a dude, an adult man or woman, and you watch cartoons still, anime or not, that, like, you're some weirdo because you're watching cartoons. And while some cartoons are, like, childish, we both know that we've seen anime that are, like, full of blood and gore and plot.
There's so many different kinds of anime.
Yeah, there's so many different kinds.
I love the K ones still too, but
yeah, people you can still like
child.
You can still like cute things, but there are definitely some shows, like any show, that like tackles real adult concepts.
Yeah.
And loss and joy and plot.
Yeah, I mean, they do make shows.
This episode, guys. We're going deep.
They make shows that are aimed for different ages.
Yeah.
Both, boys and girls, adults and kids. So
like Psychopaths. I would not suggest Psychopaths to a 10-year-old.
No.
Because there's a lot of blood and head exploding in that show.
Yeah, or our first episode, Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, Blake. Our first episode was on Ghost in the Shell, the 95 movie.
Right.
Not for kids.
No.
Nope.
But, I know the Major goes invisible. I know how she goes invisible.
But if someone ever calls you a weeboo, guys, now you know what it means.
Yeah.
Very true. All right, so we're going to dive into this week's episode, which is, or this week's anime, I should say, which is RWBY. RWBY is an American anime-style web series and media franchise created by Monte Oum, I think.
Monty Oum.
Monte Oum, thank you, Blake,
Yeah.
for Rooster Teeth. Season 1 originally aired back in July 2013. The show is set in a fictional world of Remnant, where young people train to become huntsmen and huntresses to protect their world from mysterious and malevolent creatures known as the Grimm. Prior to the events of the series, mankind waged a battle of survival against the Grimm before discovering the power of a mysterious element called dust. This element allowed them to fight back against these monsters, and in the present day, dust is used to power abilities and weapons. Those who use these abilities to battle the Grimm are known as huntsmen and huntresses. The series focuses on 4 girls, each with their own unique weapons and powers. Together, they form Team RWBY.
Yay.
Those characters are Ruby, Weiss, Blake, and Yang. They train at Beacon Academy alongside other potential huntsmen and huntresses in the city of Vale. So, before we really get into the thick of things, just want to give a spoiler warning. We want to make sure you guys are aware that our show is going to spoil the heck out of these things. So if this is something you're interested in seeing, give us a pause, come back to us later. We're going to be talking quite a bit of stuff. So just wanted to give you a heads up. All right, so let's get into it. One of our first things on the docket is character discussion.
So, Team RWBY, they were very clever in the way that they named it, as like they took the 4 main characters, first letters.
First
so
initial,
it was like RWBY. So like,
very clever.
First thing that I loved this show was I'm a huge fan of Rooster Teeth, the group. Like they made other animations like Red vs. Blue. Like that was like a huge main thing in like internet animation.
Yeah, that was all over the internet.
Yeah, that was really cool. So the first time I heard about RWBY was through their Red trailer, where they introduced this little girl with black hair, a red cloak, and this giant ass scythe.
Yeah.
That was also a gun.
Yes.
And she's just killing like these werewolf things
but she
in the
was
moonlight.
doing it so elegantly with like, this amazing song.
Gracefully.
Yeah.
It's a really cool song. Killing werewolves in the moonlight. It was rad.
It was really amazing.
And then
Rad.
Yeah, radical. Yeah, we're bringing the 90s back, dude. All right. So,
and then they came out with the other trailers for the other team members.
Yeah, they came out.
Each one was fantastic.
Yeah, so like each trailer, you learned a little bit more about the show, and then I was so excited when episode 1 dropped, and I realized how fun and quirky it was. The show sure does give a mood shift later on, which we'll talk later.
Yeah.
But so the main characters. Ruby Rose, the girl with the scythe and a sniper rifle. She's this like Little Red Riding Hood kind of character. She's young, she's innocent, she doesn't really know herself yet, but she's the thing that she's most confident in her ability to be a leader and a fighter.
Despite being the youngest
she's
in the group, she's the leader.
Yeah, she's the youngest on the team, but like she's the one with the most heart. And then there's her sister, Yang.
Yang is
my
cool.
favorite character. Like she's the best.
Yeah.
She's the punny character with the shotgun hands. She's pretty cool.
Yeah, with her shades and her motorcycle.
Yeah, the shades and the motorcycle.
Yeah, her leather jackets.
Yeah, real Akira vibes. Like, yeah, very cool. Then you got the rich, pampered heiress Weiss.
Yeah.
Weisschnee.
Which Weiss in German means white, and they allude to her as being like Snow
Yeah,
White.
this show is very good at keeping to those tropes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they find the most ways to keep to those tropes.
Yeah, she is very, she starts out very snobby and very proper.
She later on gets the nickname Ice Queen.
Yeah.
It's really hilarious.
She earned it, though.
She really does. I hate her. I hate her so much.
But let's not forget...
But she does get better.
Blake.
Oh, yes, Blake. Because
the other Blake.
Here's the other thing, is, like, so many shows and cartoons and stuff, every time I see the name Blake, it is either a last name or it is the first name of a girl. So I have lived with that for years.
No, it's a unisex name. You're okay.
And here we are with this cat girl, and
named Blake.
Yeah, and I'm like, fine, whatever. This might as well
But she's
happen.
such a good character.
She is a great character. She is what's called a faunus, which is this world's way of describing furries.
Which, we'll talk about that more later. But, faunas are very cool.
She has cat ears and, like, this really cool katana gun. Who else? Yes, that's the end of Team RWBY. And there's also, like, all these other supporting characters, like this ninja, Li Ren, another faunus, Sun Wukong, who's, like, all monkey. Like, he's got a monkey tail.
Yeah,
like,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
he was a good character.
He's got one of my favorite weapons. He's got this bow staff that turns into shotguns, and he's, like, going, like...
Exactly like that, folks. Just like that.
Yeah.
And then there was the other team, Team Juniper, which was JNPR. Again, the first initials of each of the team members. And then we had our beloved Pyrrha. And actually, Jean was the lead of that one, even though he actually wasn't even supposed to go to the academy.
Yeah.
He snuck his way in.
Cheated.
He cheated on the paperwork. He didn't really
real hard.
He didn't have good skills out in the field,
Yeah.
but he was very determined. He had some hand-me-downs, weapons in the family. He had a shield that would shrink down to pocket size, and then he'd whip it out and it would become full size again.
Which was like a major joke in like the second episode, because like Ruby's talking about her big old sight that becomes a sniper rifle, and he's going like, "Oh, what is that? It's also a gun." And he's showing off his sword and shield, and he was like, "Oh, what does the shield do? It gets smaller, so I can carry it around. It's pretty cool.
But
doesn't it still weigh the same?" Yeah, it does. So he's, I believe, the most in Jean, because I believe he's going to be that quintessential anime character that's the comic relief. Everyone kicks him down. Everyone thinks that he's not going. They don't expect much of him. They don't think he's going to do anything great.
Except for Pyrrha.
Except for
Pyrrha. She sees a lot of potential in
She
him.
supported him.
But
so
I
much.
believe, hopefully, season 5, he's going to pull out his badass card and become like the most.
I think he will.
He's going to find out what his semblance is and figure out like who he is.
I think you see his development towards that.
Yeah.
And
over the course of the four seasons.
Yeah, you do see him grow a little bit.
He
like
he definitely gets a lot of character
practices
development.
but here's a little fun fact. His first name, Jean, is French for yellow, and he's got the boy's yellow hair.
Right.
So his name actually means yellow.
But it's also a reference to Jean the Arc.
Yeah, because his last name
Jean
is
Arc.
Arc.
Yeah,
so he's Jean Arc. That's neat. And then we have, the team also has 2 other characters.
Yeah, Li Ren, who's like a cool green ninja, and Nora Valkyrie, who is the cute girl in pink with the giant hammer that likes to hit you. Which is another major anime trend, where they have the little girl with the giant weapon.
Yeah, the lowest, cutest one, and the biggest, most intimidating weapon.
Right.
Although they waited
and the huge bloodlust.
They waited late in the show to really reveal the backstory of these 2 characters.
Right.
When it was worth the wait. It was really interesting, and they grew up together. And
I cried a little.
Yeah, it was sad. They lost their home, but they you can see why they're so close.
Right, you can see why they're so dependent on each other.
Oh yeah,
Why that like story-wise, they have already made sure that these two are, like, they're together.
Yeah.
Even though in, like, season 2, Nora's like, oh, we're not together.
Yeah.
she doesn't want to face the truth.
Yeah. But yeah, amazing characters. And then we, of course, have the staff at the school, the professor.
Professor Ozpin is, like, the chillest dude.
He's so cool. Again, he's kind of lenient, you know? Like, he always knows everything that's going on, but he allows certain things to happen, you know?
Yeah. He you know who he is? He's the Professor Dumbledore of Beacon Academy.
Yeah,
like
I can see that.
He's
like
Dumbledore
knew all, but he'll allow some things to
go
he
under
definitely the radar. He's like, you know what? It's part of growing up. It's all good.
He definitely has like a favorite team. Like at the end of the year, like he's giving all the points to Gryffindor.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. He is a lot like Dumbledore.
But younger.
When you look at his sort of right hand, Glinda, she's also a lot like
McGonagall.
Yeah, she's McGonagall.
That's crazy. I didn't think about that before.
Oh man! And then we can't forget to talk about Zwei before we move on.
Zwei, I love Zwei.
We're talking about the good guys. We got to talk about Zwei first.
Zwei is Ruby's and Yang's dog that their father sent from in the mail.
In the mail. They mailed him, and he popped out of the box.
He's a corgi, right?
Yeah,
he's a corgi. And, like,
Animated
they sent
corgis,
him
right?
in a tube, and they opened up the tube, and they popped it out, and he just pops out, and there's this fluffer pupper, and, like, he's just gonna, like, bark, and he's the best character.
It's
funny.
funny.
I love Zwei.
When we were looking up the heroes online, this dog came up before most of the characters.
He came up before Blake.
He came up before John and
Comes
Kira.
up before
Blake
Ruby, technically.
came up before Ruby on the list of characters because it's just so well loved.
Everyone loves Zwei. I got a figure of him on my desk.
Yes.
And just as you have some of these good characters or good guys that we've been talking about, you also have a lot of the bad guys. So the Grimm, which is sort of this overarching, always present villain creature, is essentially just made of evil.
Yeah,
they're
made out of the darkness.
Yeah,
and like. There's another anime theme. It was like, we gotta fight the darkness.
Yes.
And like literally,
You did air quotes for those people who can't see.
Yeah, great podcasting. Air quotes. The Grimm are like these different monsters. They form in different shapes. Like Ursas are giant bears with spikes on them.
Yeah, they always resemble our animals, but they just look twisted and dark and evil.
Right. One of the coolest ones is the Nevermore, which is a giant raven. They fought her that in like season 1 when they were looking for their chess pieces to find out which team that they were going to be on with each other.
Yeah, their first task together.
Ruby
right.
cuts its head off. It's great.
No mercy. But, just like the heroes, the villains develop a lot, too.
Yeah.
Like Cinder, she changed a lot. And Salem, of course, evolved into a monster herself.
We haven't gotten a whole lot on Salem yet. Like, we understand that she's sort of the big bad in charge.
Yeah.
But we don't have a whole lot of backstory other than that she is running the show. And that she's the one... everyone is working towards her was.
Yeah.
The one villain that we have gotten the most character development in is Cinder.
Yes.
Voiced by what was her name? Jessica Negri. Yes, the cosplayer. Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's interesting.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh yeah, no. So
I'm one of those people that when you ask me if I've seen like a certain movie, and you ask me if I've seen the movie with this actor, and I'll be like, no, tell me what their actual fictional names are, because those are the only ones that I usually pay attention to.
That's
I
fair.
care about the fictional world, the fictional characters, the voices behind them. I usually don't follow because it takes away from the world that they build.
The reason I know most of the voice actors in this show is because I'm a big Rooster Teeth fan, and most of the voice actors are people from Rooster Teeth. Like, Sun Wukong is voiced by Michael Jones, who also voices a character in Fairy Tail. Like he actually has a good voice acting history to him now. And his wife, Lindsay, voices Ruby. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Blake is voiced by Erin, I forget her last name, but she used to date Miles, who is now Miles Luna, who is now one of the major writers of the show.
Yeah.
And Yang is voiced by... Cut this out. Cut this out.
No, if you need to take a minute.
Yeah, if it takes you a minute, we
just
cut out the extra
cut it all
space
out.
and thoughts and ums.
Crap,
And
what was her name?
We can look it up.
I do this all the time.
No, it's okay.
Maybe I'll just leave this in for that.
No.
It was Barbara Dunkelman. Yes, the Canadian.
You guys are getting a treat today because we don't go into this detail.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's got the mind for it.
Yeah.
Oh man, they're gonna have to shut me up because I can go on for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that's very cool. I mean it makes sense that they use the same same voice actors for
they already
their shows.
Yeah. They already have them on the payroll.
I'm a big fan of the voice actor for
I have a
RWBY.
question for you guys. Do we know what Salem's plan is?
Not a clue. Not a clue.
Like, the show has a lot of great fight scenes, and there's definitely some development from the very beginning where in, like, the first season you get your regular character development, how the school operates and what's going on there. Second season, you get more of that, and sort of like there are these tournaments that go on, right?
That's a major anime trope, is the tournament.
Right.
The big tournament.
The big tournament.
Yeah.
And then season 3 things start to change.
Right. Well, yeah, the tournament started in season 3, and, like, that's when Cinder's plan started to come to fruition, where, like, the fall of Beacon... Because as you learn towards the end of that season, there are these 4 maidens, like, that are, like, representative of the seasons. Like the Spring Maiden, the Fall Maiden. Yeah. And they find out that the Fall Maiden was attacked by Cinder. And, like, they have half of her essence. And, like, there's this whole fairy tale in that world that turns out to be true. And, like, you learn about it. And these maidens are so powerful because they can use magic without rely on a resource. They only have their own inner power.
And they're the only ones, too.
That's huge in this world. Like, to power everything, they need dust.
Yeah. I mean, that was like a big plot.
Salem's
finding dust in the first
plan is to sort of gather this essence from them.
Yes and no. Because there's this other side plot where, like, you find this out from Ruby and Yang's uncle, Crow, in, like, season 4. But there's, like, these other, I forget what they were. I think they were objects or tokens or something that are being protected by the 4 major schools in the 4 kingdoms that are, like, holding back the darkness. So, like, Salem's plan is to get them and destroy them.
Yeah, because they built the schools around those 4 locations.
Like, each headmaster of each school is, like, tasked with protecting them.
And they waited till much later in the show to reveal that. And when you find out that these schools were built just to protect them, and that they made them schools for hunters and huntresses because it's like you're making the school Fort Knox by filling them up with fighting
Why
students.
not protect your major thing that's going to protect the world in the school that's training soldiers?
And they have 1 down, 3 to go.
Right, the fall of Beacon. That was rough.
Yes. But, you know...
So we never got into, like, the character development of the villains.
I mean, again, we were saying that Salem, we don't see her too much.
Right.
She's bad from the get-go that we know.
Right.
But Cinder changes a lot.
She does, because at the first moment we see her is technically in episode 1.
Yeah.
As just a silhouette. We don't even know what she looks like until season 2. And, like, almost every time that we've seen her, she's been mostly silent. Until, like, season 3 and 4, and then, like, you realize what she wants and what her goals are, and even now I don't even fully know. We just know that she is a servant to Salem, and she has her own team with Mercury and Emerald.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cinder turns a corner.
Becomes a good guy?
You
think she's going to be the Vegeta? You think she's going to be Vegeta of the show?
I don't know if she's going to be Vegeta. I think she has her own... I think she's doing all these terrible things to sort of collect what she can to fight off Salem. But that's I have no proof whatsoever.
That's just your personal headcanon.
But you know what? She started out so, like, cocky and bossy with her team, and she just seemed like, you know, I know what I want and I'm going to get it.
Right. But you also felt that she deserved it because she was that powerful. And then you find out that she was that powerful because she had, like, half of the Fall Maiden's power in her. So, like, she wasn't relying on dust for most of her abilities. Like, she was just that much powerful of a villain.
Yeah. And then when you get into the most recent season, when she, endured what she did with her and her battle scars, she has one eye now.
Yeah, her fight with Ozpin and RWBY.
It really scarred her, like, emotionally. She barely speaks. She seems uncertain. Like, she's hesitant when she talks. She stutters. She's like,
she seems that
fearful. Yeah, she's just lost. She seems to have lost kind of the person that she was, and it kind of seems like she's maybe doubting too. Right. But again, that's just speculation. But it just seems in their behavior that maybe she's starting to rethink her situation.
Right.
It would be cool if she did eventually switch sides, all against Salem, but,
It would be cool.
It'd be nice, but yeah, I mean, that was rough for her, but then with Team RWBY and Team Juniper, they had a big hit too.
Are we doing it? Are we getting to that big major spoiler?
I think before we leave sort of our character discussion, we have to talk about the one and only Pyrrha.
Oh.
So, big spoiler, guys.
Shot through the heart. Oh, no.
Pyrrha's fate is written in the stars, and she dies
at the end of season 3, the last episode.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, like, our most innocent character, RWBY, sees it, and then she finds out that she has this hidden power in her with her silver eyes, but, like, she blacks out for, like, a week, like, a month or so. It was a while. Yeah, she was bedridden for a while after the fall of Beacon. The fall of Pyrrha and the fall of Beacon changed
everybody.
Changed everybody.
Well, it changes the whole tide of not only the show but the war and the whole world sort of shifts.
The stakes become real. Before in season 1, everything was all light and happy and we're figuring things out. I'm trying to make friends. It's school. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything. You know what? The first 2 seasons of the show, it was just a great comedy to watch with a great story and great action, and you felt safe when you watched it, because you don't expect the characters to die. It was such an upbeat, fun show to watch.
Right. You thought everything was going to be sunshine and rainbows,
they made you feel safe for 2 seasons.
Not to get sidetracked, but I actually love when characters get killed off in animes.
Oh, I love it too.
One of my favorite animes is Gurren Lagann.
Yeah,
and that one. A lot of the main characters bite the dust by the time it's over. But oh man, so many spoilers.
Sorry about the bunch of people.
We'll talk about that another day.
Pyrrha's dying words.
No, I don't remember her.
Don't you ever feel like you were destined for greatness?
Yeah, she was destined to become a pile of dust on the ground.
And then she was murdered.
Yeah, she was murdered hard.
Towards the end of that, she her essence is being transferred to someone. Chamber.
She was trying. They were trying to make her into the new Fall Maiden. Mm-hmm. Because Cinder hadn't fully killed the previous Fall Maiden. So they were trying to transfer her aura into Pyrrha. But that was interrupted, and Cinder killed the Fall Maiden, getting the full power. Yeah. That's how she was able to fight and beat Ozpin, and then she killed Pyrrha hard with an arrow. Yeah. It was rough.
To the face, right?
She had just kissed Sean. They were just finally getting to the point where okay, this is a thing. Yeah. And it was really sad.
And then for months afterward, Jean had a video of Pyrrha giving an instruction
video.
She had made it for
telling
him
how much she believed him.
Yeah, I have faith in you. You can do this. Okay, let's start again. And and he would follow it every single day, practice and practice, and and it's just her ghost was following him. Yeah. It's oh my god.
Drop kicked me right in the heart.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I picked Pyrrha as my character for our show logo. It's such a good character.
That's interesting. I picked Future Gohan. Both of our characters die.
That's ominous.
Whoops. One of the cool things about this show is how these people fight. All their cool weapons and their powers. Yeah. Because everyone has what's called a semblance. So, everyone has their own special ability. So, and that's really cool. And you have to train it. You have to figure out what it is.
What person doesn't wish they had some kind of superpower?
Yeah,
it's just
wouldn't it be
superpower?
Awesome?
Yeah,
like Pyrrha's is magnetism, and it would be awesome just to pull the remote over from the other side of the room, just be awesome, right?
That's the first thing you think of.
Way to think big. Way to dream big there.
Can you reach that remote without getting up?
I have low expectations for myself.
Oh man, I don't even know what it would be. Just the thought of flying or teleporting, just to
that'd be cool.
You know, being able to travel the world in a heartbeat or something like that. Just
like RWBY's is super speed.
We should pepper this like all of the huntsmen and huntresses. They all have sort of superhuman abilities, like as like a baseline, and then on top of it, they have their own special
weapons
sort of weapons
training,
and unique powers. Like all of them are like really physically strong, like they can leap buildings and
except for John because he's a cheater.
Yeah, John doesn't.
He's coming into his own.
He's fighting, and he's fighting well now, but he doesn't seem to have any special.
Well, you know what? He's the tactician.
Right?
He's the Batman in
the Justice League. Everyone else is like gods, and he's the only one. Yeah,
Batman can still kick everyone else's butt, so it doesn't matter.
Right, because if they lose their powers, they don't have the same kind of training. Except that's not true because all these other huntresses, they have that training without their powers, so it's fine.
But he's the tactician of the show.
Yeah, he's a tactician. Yeah. I mean, they saw that he was unique. They made him the leader of the group. Like they knew he was special for something. You know, even though it wasn't fighting,
he's got a heart of hearts.
He kept everyone
together. He's got
together.
a game plan always.
Yeah. So his brains is his special ability.
Right.
One thing that we should talk about, since this is an anime podcast and we're talking about RWBY.
Is it an anime?
Is it really an anime? It's an American-made show.
So I was doing some reading yesterday, and this is a really hot topic. Like from what I understand, this was presented like before it actually aired. It was presented to a lot of Japanese animators, and even they were arguing amongst themselves whether they considered it an anime or not. Like something that Rooster Teeth had like presented to them just to see what their reactions would be.
Yeah,
and like this has been a hard sort of debate.
One point in that in the favor of it being an anime, though, is that it was translated into Japanese. It's being sold in Japan as an anime. Like, they have their own Japanese voice actors for the show.
With that, though, I was also reading that a lot of Crunchyroll fans actually protested it being offered on Crunchyroll.
Really?
Wow.
Because they didn't feel it was an anime.
Oh, they're probably the same people that, like, were angry that there was an all-female showing of Wonder Woman, too, so I don't really care.
But
so I don't really...
For those who listened to our intro episode, we did read a definition from the internet of anime.
Yes, no one
and
lies
it
on the
was
internet.
a style of animation that derived from Japan, and the style came from Japan,
so I would say
to replicate this style. And they distinguish the style with the bright colors and the big eyes, and they have that.
And
you could asterisk it. It's not a traditional anime.
No,
it's not.
It's definitely Western anime.
It does share a lot of characteristics and styles and whatnot. Although I have to say, the sort of 3D rendering that the show is based around took a while for me to get used to. I love,
but it's not the only anime that's done that.
I know.
There's Knights of Sidonia on Netflix. They do the same thing.
I know. That particular type of anime is hard for me.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool," because I've been like really interested in seeing what this whole trailer is. It's a Rooster Teeth thing, and I was like, "Oh, this is weird."
Yeah.
all the non-important characters are like black outlines. Oh, I guess that's where they saved the budget.
For those that are just starting the show, I mean, you'll see as you get on, when you watch the style, it does develop.
It does get way better.
Yeah, like they keep the same style, but it gets cleaned up over time as the show gets big and they have the funds. You can see even just the details in the background behind the characters, like the shading and the shadows and in the books, the labels on each book on a shelf. Like it's the little details that they really tweak, and watching the style develop as the show develops was really nice.
And they do get background characters. They get rid of the whole shadow.
Yeah, no shadows. Actual characters in the background.
In one of their extra shows, RWBY Chibi, they even like make fun of themselves for that. Like RWBY Chibi is their joke, cute like chibi version of the show.
Yeah, it's a
where
spin-off.
where they see like one of the shadowy characters like walk past them and say hello, and then like Ruby and Weiss are like, "You guys saw that, right? Okay, we're not crazy. Like this dude is just a shadow."
That's very cool of them that they can make fun of themselves.
They totally make fun of themselves all the time.
That is very cool. One more thing I just want to talk about in the world of Remnant is the big feud between faunas and humans.
Yes, because what great story is there that doesn't have like a little bit of racism in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, being a faunus, that sounds pretty fantastic. That's
so
awesome.
a faunus can be essentially any human animal sort of hybrid.
Yeah. So like they are their own special race. A faunus is like a humanoid body type with certain animal like qualities.
Yeah. It's not always the tail or ears, but yeah.
So Blake has cat ears, for example.
Blake has cat ears.
She has a tail.
Does she have a tail?
Yeah.
Oh, I never noticed she had a tail.
I think she has a tail, right?
Sun has a tail.
Maybe she has a tail.
Maybe she has a tail.
Maybe she doesn't.
Clothing. You don't always notice.
Yeah.
You know what? It's because the monkey guy has a tail.
Do you think that'd be rude to be like, "Excuse me, ma'am, can I see your tail?
Do you have a tail? Can you whip it out for me?
Can you whip out your tail for me?"
Yes.
We're trying to keep this PG, guys.
Sorry.
She does have like the reflexes and some of the personality quirks. Like she likes to be up high. She in her
fish.
She made a bunk. Remember her bunk in their dorm room?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and
she curls up like a cat sometimes.
Yeah, she's very shy at first, like very meek. But yeah, she's very very cat-like in her behavior.
She has a secret look with the noodle seller in season 3, where like they're all getting noodles, and she like winks at the shop owner, and he passes her like a ramen bowl just with bunches of fish on it. She starts
Cats
drooling.
and their fish, am I right?
Yeah, it's great. There's a bunch of like faunus characters.
Yeah, you see a lot of them just in the city. You get all shapes and sizes. So, but they did touch more on the later season, the actual issues with the faunus being segregated.
Right, they're segregated, and one of the major villains in the show is the White Fang, which is a
faunus group.
It's a faunus group trying to fight for equal rights, but at a certain point, they became less about peaceful protests and became more about violent protests.
Yeah, they've become extremists.
Right, they become extremists, and Blake herself was one of the founding members.
Yeah.
Like, she was a major part in that movement, and once it turned violent, her partner, Adam Torres, like, she left him.
Yeah.
And, like, he becomes one of the major villains later on as well, and, like, he's not over the fact that she dumped him at all. Like, he's very bitter. Yeah, so she's trying to figure out her own identity as a faunus and the things that she's done and the movement that she's started, and trying to figure out how to keep the people around her from dying. And still be who she is and accept that she is this animal-like creature.
Yeah. It was nice to see her finally accept herself a little more, because in the first season, she covered her cat ears with a bow.
Right.
So it just looked like she wore a black bow in her hair, and no one knew that she was a faunus. Yeah, so
she kept it a secret.
She kept it a secret, and she was very good at keeping it a secret.
Right.
But she became more accepting, and, she even made a friend with, other faunus. And
yeah, Sun's great. I love Sun.
The monkey guy.
Yeah.
Very cool character. And but you find out in the most recent season that they were given their own island to live on. Like,
they have their own island.
I mean, it's nice that they have their own place to feel like themselves, but that's so segregated, Yeah,
at the same time, you're like, but I don't want to drink from the special fountain.
Yeah.
Because, like, the special fountain, air quotes again,
thanks.
Isn't as great as the main fountain. And, like, they deal with this problem of racism pretty easily in, like, a kind of kiddie show. It's not that kiddie, but, like...
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore. It's definitely something that they figure out as part of their characters. And it's cool.
So do you guys think we're going to get more character development for some of the older characters? Because they recently introduced... Well, not introduced, but they're bringing along Ruby's uncle now.
Yes,
and
Uncle Crow.
And her father.
Yeah.
I love Crow.
Like, they both have gotten more spotlight.
Yeah,
I really liked in the earlier seasons seasons, they had the other two professors whose names escape me.
Oh,
They were really fun. They're not up there.
One of them, Professor Oobleck, who's the dude who looks like he's on crack. I'm sorry, I know you're trying to make this a really PG show.
Okay.
But, he basically drinks a lot of coffee, and, like, he's, like, super energetic, kind of like the Flash.
The big
like,
bottle glasses and the safari hat.
A bit like the Flash, where, like, he's moving at, like, 1,000,000 miles a second, like, everything in the world is, like, slow motion for him. That's probably part of his semblance, too. You never know.
Right.
But, like, and then there's the big fat dude with the mustache who drones on and on about
he looks like a general.
Yeah, he looks like a general or a safari hunter.
Yeah.
Because he has, like, the blunderbuss gun, where on the other side of it is an axe.
Yeah.
Like...
But you know what? Before, it was the students and the teachers. And, they were separated a little bit because, the students are together. They have their cliques and doing their own thing. Now Beacon has fallen, and they're all united together. And they're all fighting and united the same enemy. So now you're not seeing them as separate groups. They're all together. They're all equals. And maybe we'll learn more about the other.
This is the second show we've covered where I really want to see more of, like, the previous eras. So, like, in Food Wars, I mentioned how I would really love to see the previous classes
the teachers with how
the teachers are now and how they came to be, and
see
like
more
in
about
this,
the main character's dad too.
Yeah.
See where he fit into that.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's the same thing. It's the teachers, the parents.
I feel like we didn't get enough of Beacon.
No, we didn't.
Like they kind of throw you into this story, like this
it's
left
mainly
turn.
It's mainly about RWBY and Yang.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, maybe they'll have like throwbacks. Like they'll have them reminisce or something, and they'll be able to show.
Aren't they on their way to another school?
But yeah, currently, right now, at the end of season 4, they just got to Vale, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. We could look. That up,
I think we're just about there.
Yeah, they just got to Vale, where they're trying to find the headmaster of that school to help them protect his object and prevent Vale from falling to the same attack.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get some of the Beacon teachers to show up.
Because they did show up. They showed up for like a quick bit in season 4, where they were trying to talk Yang back into fighting. Because we didn't even talk about one of my own favorite characters is Yang.
Yeah.
How this like really punny character, this really strong girl who like her semblance is like Goku, where like the more you beat her, that sounds weird. The more damage she takes, the more stronger
Hulk.
she becomes.
She's the Hulk.
Yeah. She's like a Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Like her hair changes.
That's
it goes
true. It does
up,
change.
like she gets this like huge aura. Her eyes turn red. She's a major Super Saiyan.
My favorite character as well.
She's great. She's hilarious. She does have her own insecurities, but like she moves past them.
Yeah.
And like her main goal is to try and find her mother that left them when she was a little girl. And like I love Yang. Yang's the best. She's funny. But at the end of season 3, she has her own loss.
Oh yeah.
Of her own physical loss. She loses her right arm
to
Adam Taurus. Yeah. So at the beginning of season 4, she's a wreck. She doesn't know who she is anymore. She has PTSD. Like she's trying to find her fighter spirit again, and like eventually she does. She trains with her dad. She has this really cool metal arm, which goes back to my love of
She's now the Winter Soldier.
Now she's I was gonna say Full Metal Alchemist. She's like Ed Elric. Yeah, like another one of my favorite shows. She's got the metal prosthetic, and like that's really cool.
It took her a while before she was willing to put that on.
Almost the full season. Season 4.
Like I know we both do kung fu, and like we both injured ourselves, and like at a certain point you have to decide, do I want to keep doing this? Because this could, in rare instances, this could be like the death of me, or it could be like something that keeps me from doing all these other things that I want to do, because like there's a chance you might get hurt, and that's just a reality that you have to accept, and that's something that she had to accept and decide what she wanted to do for herself and figure out who she is.
Yeah.
A lot of this show is figuring out self-identity, and it's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, they're at their age, they're growing up.
Right.
You know, they're learning about themselves, and then when she finally perseveres and she's ready to go, she has a choice. Does she go after her sister, or does she go after her mother?
Does she go after her mom? Yeah. Mom issues.
Mom, yeah. Mom issues.
This part is the fact that the original creator...
Speaking of loss.
I actually got really emotional when I found out about this.
I
The original creator of the show, Mani Ohm, died when he had a complication during surgery. And when I found out about this, I had actually known about Mani before he became a member of Rooster Teeth. He did these great animations, Haloid, the Halo versus Samus animation, where like these really cool fight scenes, and it was really, really awesome. And Dead Fantasy, where like all these Final Fantasy characters fighting each other. It was really cool, and he brought that to RWBY. RWBY was his baby. It was his idea, and just to spend a day in his mind, I would have loved to see that, because he was a gifted individual.
Yeah, very creative.
I remember when he passed, on the Rooster Teeth site, they were saying that like one of his dying wishes was for people to create, to find their art and keep it going and add on to that human experience. And it touched me really hard, and it sucks. It sucks that he died.
But he does get his dying wish, because the people that are working with the show now, they're they're really doing it justice.
Yeah,
you know?
Miles Luna and Kerry Shawcross, they're doing a great job. I am super excited for season 5. Like they've kept his dream going, and it's great.
Yeah, I'm expecting really great things in the next seasons.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
All right, now that everybody's successfully crying, let's bring this back. So
let's find the funny.
If you visit roosterteeth.com, you can get a membership. You can find all the episodes right there. Blake, you probably know of other areas to. You can find it on Crunchyroll as well.
You can find it on Crunchyroll. You can find it on VRV, which is VRV, which is I think made by Crunchyroll, because they have a bunch of anime on there too. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on the Rooster Teeth website.
Yeah, it's free to watch right on their website.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like the show's free to watch. They made it free for everybody to see. It's great. I love the show.
The membership, you can see the episodes a week early.
Right. Too, if you get a membership with Rooster Teeth, you can see it a week early. It's great.
Oh man, when we went to Comic-Con last year, they had in the main area of the Javits Center was just posters of RWBY.
Yeah.
Humongous.
Oh, the cosplayers, the community of the
RWBY.
cosplayers and community of this show are great. I know we're going
really
over time. I know this is like one of your longest episodes.
That's right.
But they also made a video game, RWBY Grim Eclipse. It's like this basic hack and slash game. We all played it together one night.
Oh, it was so much fun. I love that.
I was ragging on.
It was nice playing with.
I was ragging on Bridget because she wasn't getting any points. She was dying all the time.
It was my first time.
It was my first time too.
But yeah, I usually play MMORPGs. It's very different. I usually play them on the computer. So playing on a PS4 for me was, it took some time to get used to the handling of the controller.
Yeah, no, it was fun though.
It was a great game, so for RWBY fans, I highly recommend picking up this game.
Watch the show.
It's definitely worth a watch.
It's definitely worth it.
It may take you a little bit to get used to the graphics.
But you don't mind because the show
But
is
it's
so
really
good.
fun.
And the music.
It turns out to be really fun.
Oh, the music.
The music.
Oh, the music is great too.
It's really good. And then also there's RWBY Chibi, which is just the little spin-off.
Yeah, they're like 5-minute episodes of like fun little animation. Yeah. Like Nora eats a bunch of pancakes or drinks a pot of coffee, and then she starts seeing into like different realities. It was hilarious.
That I think I want to check out now.
Yeah. I want to watch that.
We'll watch it after the show.
But yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. Who is your favorite RWBY character?
What would your weapon be? What would your semblance be?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Do you think RWBY is an anime?
Oh yes, the
big
hot
question.
Yes,
topic.
the hot topic is RWBY and anime.
I mean, I say yes.
And let me know if you want me to come back.
Oh, we're definitely going to have you back.
Of course.
Don't worry.
Blake will be back. Don't forget to reach out to us. Our email is gitcanime@gmail.com. You can find us on social media, Facebook and Twitter, meow. Just search for GITC Anime and we'll show right up. And don't forget, if you ever want to comment on anything, just hashtag us at GITC Anime.
I was going for giraffe.
Next week, we'll be watching the anime movie Esclafone.
Oh my god. It's more on a more serious note. So the last 2 episodes were comedies, or somewhat comedies. Well, the 2 ones before this one were. But Esclafone is a more serious anime. And it's a good film.
Special thanks to Blake for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Holman.
And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.